Okay, so continuing on from our Animate tutorial, we're now going to focus on tweening. Okay, if you remember tweening is essentially what they call keyframes, the use of keyframes and the movement in between two different keyframes. Okay, so this technique is not unique to After Effects. You find this technique in Animate, you also find this in Premiere Pro as well. Okay, and it's very, very useful, a technique for you to pick up because, you know, a lot of things function using it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear away all of this rubbish that I've got here. I might just keep the line for now. That seems perfectly reasonable. Okay, now I'm going to grab this, I'm going to delete that, I'm going to make this circle that we made using the ellipse tool as my main focus there. Okay, so now the ellipse tool essentially is a shape in itself, and essentially what we have here is a fill. Okay, if I was to, you know, look at the properties up here, we've got a stroke. If we add a stroke to this, we can't necessarily add a stroke to this at this point in time for some reason. If I was to just grab that again, you'll be able to see stroke. Yeah, okay. Add a black stroke there and a fill, just like any other you know, any other illustration program. You've got the opportunity of creating fills and strokes. But I don't tend to use them myself much. I just like to use fills, or, you know, a solid shape itself. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to delete all of these frames. Okay, Command with it all selected, sorry, Control with it all selected, Control, remove frames. There you go. Now, I'm going to go along here, and just like we did when we first started, I'm going to insert a frame. Okay? So now I've got this section here. Now, there is no movement or anything like that that takes place. This isn't frame by frame that we're essentially doing at this point in time. So we're going to essentially, you know, attempt a different process. And to do that, we need to do a few things. So have this selected, press the right click button or control click, and then I would like you to select Create Motion Tween. Okay? Now, once you do that, you're greeted with this message. The selective item cannot be tweened. You must convert this to a symbol in order to tween. Would you like to? Press OK. In your library, you'll be able to find this symbol now. Okay? For some reason, it's changed the color of my symbol. I don't necessarily know why that's the case, but it doesn't concern me that much anyway. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay. Now, okay, all right, I understand why, because it's the onion skin taking place. So I'm going to go back, Command Z. Okay, so sorry about that. Once you've created a motion tween on this frame, this brings up a blue highlighted area. Okay, and it's in this blue highlighted area that we can essentially play around with the same things that we did in After Effects. We can move it down, and then it's got the same beads and everything like that. Yeah, we can move back up. That snapping tool is being very useful. Okay, now how do we change the size of it? In this transform window here, you've got options that could help you there. Okay, but the thing to take into account is that on this main area, you can't actually see any of the additional keyframes that are taking place, but they are there. So if you just right click or control click, you'll find that the options have changed now. You can select Refine Tween. Let's click that. Then that actually opens up what we call the motion editor, and you can see all of this stuff going on here. All right, so there's loads of things for us to essentially start playing around with. Okay, at this point in time, there's only location, but if we were to in our timeline play around with some other elements. So say it hits the floor there. What I want to do is I want to right click and add in a keyframe here. Specifically insert keyframe, scale. Okay, and then that has provided another opportunity for us to play around with stuff. Okay, it's specifically scale there, and it can tell, it's telling us, it's giving us a visual cue as to what's happening between that keyframe and anything else. Okay, so let's now change the scale. So again, just like in After Effects, you've got the transformation options, you've got the constrain properties option as well. We're going to increase the size of that and decrease the size of that as well. And then we're going to just do the opposite. I'm going to put that, just literally type it in. I'm going to type in 100, then on this one, 100. There you go, and I've got that squash there as well. Okay, so that is very, very simply the same process that we did with After Effects. Now what I'd like you to do is get to this stage and then ask your tutor for feedback. What I'd like you to do as well is consider some of the techniques for moving keyframes and things like that that we applied in the After Effects tutorial and apply them here as well. Okay, well done for doing what you've done. Good luck.